Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today. I really appreciate you giving up your time. My name's Hyacinth, and I run a digital consultancy called ProsperaCore. I work with small to mid sized businesses, and this webinar is the Is Your Business Ready for AI? And it reveals what we found when we looked at how businesses operate. So let me set the scene. In the past few years, AI was something you'd read about in the tech press. Now it's everywhere. You've probably seen it in the news or heard it mentioned by clients or suppliers. It's becoming part of the conversation. Mid sized businesses are starting to look at how to bring it in, and the tools themselves have come on enormously. You can now use platforms like ChatGPT or Claude to draft content, analyze information, even help build simple applications in minutes rather than weeks. But when it comes to small businesses, your business, my business, the situation is different. The challenge isn't whether AI exists. The challenge is whether your business is actually ready to use it properly. So today, I'm going to do something a bit different from most AI presentations. I'm not going to show you a list of tools or tell you what to buy. I'm going to show you what I've actually found when I've gone out and spoken to real small businesses about AI and technology. Not surveys, not statistics, real conversations with real business owners, people like you. And I'll be honest with you, some of it might be a bit uncomfortable because the gap between where most small businesses are and where they'd need to be to use AI properly is much bigger than most people realize. By the end, you'll have a clear picture of what AI ready actually requires, and you'll be able to start thinking about where your business sits. No jargon, no nonsense, just an honest look at what's realistic right now. Right. So let me take you through what I've actually seen. These are real businesses, real people. I've changed enough details to keep things anonymous, but the situations are exactly as I found them. Let's start with garages, local MOT and servicing businesses, the kind you'll find on any high street or industrial estate. Busy, established, clearly competent at what they do. I had three separate encounters with three different garages, and I'm going to tell you all of them because each one shows a different face of the same problem. I walked into the first to the reception desk. Behind the reception desk, I could see into the back office. There was a computer set up, but on the reception desk itself, there was a paper booking diary. So cars are written in by hand, manual job sheets. No one was at the desk. No one was answering calls. A long wait to be seen. Their booking system was a diary. There is no data flowing anywhere. At the second, I got to speak to the boss directly. During the conversation, I mentioned chatbots. He didn't know what a chatbot was. It seems like he just hadn't come across the term before. I had to explain it to him, the owner, the decision maker. If the person making the decisions doesn't know these tools exist, there is no path to AI readiness. Awareness has to come before everything else. On a rainy afternoon, I walked into a small accounting firm on a local high street. Close to the front door, there was a young man, probably in his 20s, sitting at his desk. He struck me as someone who'd probably be quite comfortable with technology, but I didn't get to speak to him. I was immediately directed to the back, to the more senior looking accountant. His desk was piled high with paper, and when I explained what I do, a few things happened. He mentioned that artificial intelligence was already built into the accounting software. He referenced government training that was available. But then he did something that surprised me. He went to the civil service website, pulled up the job listings, and pointed me towards IT vacancies. For a second, I was confused about what he was doing and why. I looked at him, I looked at that desk full of paper, and I said to him, I can see that you're overwhelmed. Then I left. What a reaction to AI. And that's the thing, he wasn't even unaware. His reaction was to push me away. How many small business owners are reacting like that right now? Not because they don't care, because they're overwhelmed. This one's a bit different. I'd called a bookkeeper who runs her own small practice. The call was about working together, how I could help her and her clients. Now, I wasn't looking at her systems directly, but what happened during that call told me everything I needed to know. I was explaining the services I offer, and as I was describing one of them, I watched her face change. She went from just listening to eyes wide open with a slight smile, like someone who's just been described to themselves, that, oh my God, that's me moment. And then it all came out. Her systems weren't properly integrated. She was using partial features of different tools. Things weren't connecting the way they should. She knew something was wrong. She'd been living with it every day, but she hadn't been able to put her finger on exactly what the problem was until someone described it back to her. She'd tried to sort it out herself. It hadn't worked. She'd looked for help, but hadn't been able to find the right person who understood the problem well enough to fix it. And that's really common. A lot of business owners are walking around with that same feeling. They know something isn't right. They can feel it, but they can't quite describe it, and they can't find anyone who gets it. So the problem just sits there, and the gap keeps growing. This one was personal. I registered as a new patient at a dental practice, filled in all my personal information, name, address, medical history, contact details, the lot, came back for my next appointment, and they'd lost it. The whole form, gone. Now let's think about that for a second. This is a regulated healthcare practice. They're legally required to handle personal data properly. GDPR applies. Data protection rules apply, and they couldn't keep track of a single patient form between one visit and the next. If they can't keep hold of a single patient form between one visit and the next, what does that tell you about how they're managing everyone else's data? What else has gone missing that nobody's noticed yet? And this brings up something important that goes beyond just artificial intelligence. If a regulated practice can't manage paper forms, how many other businesses are sitting on a data management problem they don't even know they have? This last example is slightly different. It's not a business, it's an individual, but it illustrates the same point perfectly. I was chatting with a friend of mine, a nurse with decades of experience, brilliant at what she does. During the conversation, a few things came up. Someone had tried to connect to her phone and she wasn't sure what to do. She had no security software installed. All her Word documents were stored only on her phone, no backup anywhere. She had multiple browsers open and couldn't manage the tabs. And she didn't recognize a feature called Windows Link that connects your phone to your computer. Now, none of this makes her bad at her job. She's a fantastic nurse. But it shows something really important. Digital literacy is assumed everywhere and present almost nowhere. We expect people to know this stuff, but most people have never been shown. And if this is the baseline for a highly skilled professional in their personal life, what does that tell us about the digital foundations inside small businesses? And it doesn't stop there. I've spoken to nail salon owners who use AI for Google searches, but not in their business at all. A self-employed man in his 60s who was telling me, I bet AI can't do this, I bet it can't do that. While at the same time struggling to rewrite a work letter because he'd lost the document. He hadn't saved it. I've sat in training sessions with small business owners in London where the tutor started talking about AI and you could see the blank faces around the room. Not because people were resistant, just because they'd never used it. This isn't just a few unusual cases, this is the pattern. The conversation in the media is about AI replacing jobs and transforming industries. The reality on the ground is that most small businesses haven't even got their basic digital foundations in place. So let me ask you something, and you don't need to tell anyone the answer. Just be honest with yourself. How would you describe your business right now? Are you mostly paper and manual? Do you have some systems, but they're not really connected? Systems are in place, but it's a bit messy, or are you pretty well organized? If you picked anything other than the last one, you're in very good company. Most businesses I speak to are somewhere in options 1 to 3, and that's okay. But it's important to understand what that means. So, here's the thing. What I've just shown you are the visible problems. The paper diaries, the messy desks, the lost forms. Those are the things you can see. But the real challenge for most small businesses isn't the stuff you can see. It's the stuff you can't. Let me walk you through 4 things that I come across in almost every business I've worked with. First, knowledge that lives in people's heads. In most small businesses, the person who knows how things work is the system. They know where everything is, how it all fits together, what the process is. But none of that is written down anywhere. If they're off sick or on holiday or they leave, that knowledge goes with them. Second, systems that don't talk to each other. You might have a CRM. That's a customer management tool. plus invoicing software, a spreadsheet for tracking jobs, and your email. But if none of those are connected, your business information is sitting in 5 different places. None of them has the full picture. Third, workarounds that have become invisible. Every business has them. Little things that only work because someone remembers to copy a number across, or chase a thing, or check a thing. You stop noticing them after a while. But they're there, and they're holding things together with sticky tape. And fourth, data you think you have but don't. Most business owners think they have customer data, but when you actually look at it, it's incomplete, out of date, duplicated, or spread across platforms that don't sync with each other. That's not usable data, that's noise. And here's what makes this really tricky. These problems don't exist on their own, they feed each other. Disconnected systems create messy data. Messy data means you have to rely on people's memory. Relying on people's memory creates workarounds. Workarounds become invisible. And the hardest part, you can't properly assess this from inside the business. You're too close to it. The workarounds feel normal. The gaps feel like just how it is. You need someone from the outside, someone who's seen it in many businesses, to walk through it and show you what's actually there. So let me bring this together. You've seen what's happening on the ground. Businesses losing paperwork, systems that don't talk to each other, data scattered everywhere or not existing at all, people overwhelmed by what's already on their plate before you even mention technology. These are the problems ProsperaCore solves. We help small businesses get their house in order, sort out the processes, fix what's broken, connect what's disconnected, make sure the things that are costing you time, money, and customers get dealt with properly. The way we start is with a business systems health check. It's a straightforward look at how your business actually runs day to day. We look at where things are falling through the cracks, the missed calls, the lost paperwork, the processes that only work because someone remembers to do something, the systems that should be connected but aren't. We find out what's costing you time, what's costing you money, and what's costing you customers, and then we tell you what to fix first. The outcome is a clear, honest picture of what's actually going on in your business and a practical plan for what to do about it. You'll know what's working, what isn't, what's urgent, and what can wait. No guesswork, no jargon, just a clear picture and a clear plan. Some of the solutions might involve technology, some might involve AI, some might just involve doing things differently, but you won't be sold something you don't need. We start with your problems, not with a product. The health check includes an intake questionnaire, a review of your documents and data, a 90-minute session where we go through everything together, and a written report with findings and recommendations. Before I wrap up, let me cover a few questions that you might be thinking about. Is my business too small for this? It depends. Some businesses are at a stage where they just need a few things tidied up. Others have bigger gaps. The health check will tell you exactly where you stand. Better to find out now than to keep guessing. What if we're really far behind? Most businesses are. That's the whole point. The health check gives you a starting point. It tells you what to fix first, what can wait, and what's realistic. Where do I even start? That's exactly what the health check is for. You don't need to have it all figured out before you come. You just need to be willing to take an honest look at where things are. We start there and work out the sequence from that point. I don't have time to be looking at all of this. You just need to complete a 10-minute intake form before the 90-minute health check. So not long, what you find out in that time could save you considerably more than that every single week. Thank you so much for your time today. I know I've covered a lot, and some of it might have been a bit uncomfortable, but that's the point. It's better to know where you stand than to carry on guessing. If anything we've covered has made you wonder about your own business, the Business Systems Health Check is the place to start. The booking link is on screen, and I'll include it in the follow-up email as well. And if you've got questions about anything I've covered today, or you'd rather have a quick chat first before committing to anything, that's absolutely fine. My email's there. Drop me a line.